All right, tonight's rendition is going to be brought to you by Bent's Paddle Brewing Company in honor of the craziness that I just witnessed on Twitter. Which, oh, guys, there is so much to talk about with Britney. Get your popcorn. Get your popcorn. Get your wine or beer. All right, let's go. We're going to dive into Britney Spears. I've covered Britney's story on and off for the last several months. I am a long-standing, closeted fan of Britney's, who still rocks some of her old songs on my Spotify playlist. Sounds cool. Now, Free Britney is trending. Why is Free Britney trending? Because what is going on with Free Britney? Britney Spears has been in a conservatorship since 2007, 2008, when she went through a very public breakdown after she had divorced her husband, Kevin Federline. She, if you remember, actually had she lost custody of both of her boys at that time. It was a series of a lot of very troubling behaviors by Britney that led her family to ultimately seek help from the court in order to save her finances as well as to help her with her life. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but I still miss, I miss the 2007 Britney. Do you remember that? Do you remember how she danced on the MTV Video Music Awards and she literally looked like a zombie? She was like, it was so bad. It's so bad. But I do love some Britney bitch, okay? Anyways, so now she has another boyfriend and I think his name is Sam. He's like way younger than her. And he is delicious to look at.
He is smashingly handsome, like tastily delicious.
My husband will hate me when he watches this because I'm all like,
he is so yummy. I want to. So hot. Like, yum.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. But the point is that he is much younger than her. So I'm a few years older than Britney. She is 37 years old. I think he's 24. She was doing some touring and then she took the residency at Las Vegas. However, people that I know that went there and saw it said that the show wasn't actually even that good. They said that when they watched it, she really was sort of robotic and going through the motions and seemed kind of out of it, which I was like, was it sort of kind of like when she was on the VMAs doing the Give Me More song where she literally looked like she was so zoned out on her medication? I don't know. And by the way, I am not like mocking her mental illness. I think that at this point, I'll be eager to see what happens with the conservatorship. I'm always very mixed because I'm been a fan of hers for a long time. And I think that, you know, she's been on a really good path for a long time. But I also think that we'll just have to see what the court decides. I'm a few years older than Britney, but I was old enough to be annoyed by her. But I was like older than her, so she was sort of annoying to me. But then her music was so catchy, it was impossible for me not to like her. So I was always kind of like, God, I want to hate you, but ooh, that snake routine was super cool. And then I would be like, oh, she's so annoying. But then like Toxic came out. Oh my God, you guys. And then I'm a Slave for You. Oh, I loved that song. I loved that song. So you know that I am like a secretive Britney Spears fan. Well, not secretive, because I cover her from time to time, depending on what's going on. And this was one of those things where I follow her on Instagram and I saw this in my feed and I was like, wait, what? I couldn't even believe what was coming out of her mouth and like how casual she was about it. And like how like nonchalant. And then I was just like, of course that happened, Britney. Yes, of course. So here's what happens. I can't even. She's like casually like, so guys, like I'm in my gym and then, you know, whoops, I burnt it down. Okay, here.
Hi guys, I'm in my gym right now. I haven't been in here for like 6 months because I burnt my gym down, unfortunately. I had 2 candles and yeah, one thing led to another and I burned it down. So I'm in here and I only have 2 pieces of equipment left and I'm gonna show you guys what I do during this time.
Hey guys, can I play that for you again? Seriously, it was that fast.
Hi guys, I'm in my gym right now. I haven't been in here for like 6 months because I burnt my gym down, unfortunately.
Wait, what?
I had 2 candles and
2 candles.
yeah, one thing led to another.
One thing led to another.
So I'm in here and I only have 2 pieces of
Only
equipment
2 pieces of furniture.
I'm gonna show you guys what I do.
Okay. Wait, okay, so Brittany, slow down there. You were in your gym and you had 2 candles and one thing led to another. Wait, what? Britney, what did you do? How did this happen? And how do you just go from like, hey everyone, I feel like my gym down to, oh, by the way, let's do some lunges. She's also been posting that she misses her boyfriend, and apparently she has been not able to eat because she misses him so much, and her pants are too big. And then another post she made with her top. But I don't know, should we still be freeing Britney if she's got gyms that are potentially going up in flames due to candles? So Britney, this chick, right? Britney's been in a conservatorship for like a zillion years, since 2008, so 12 years. And she is slated to be done, or not done, the conservatorship will have a hearing this month, like I think in a couple weeks, where they're going to determine whether or not it's going to continue or not. And in the last several weeks, people from her family have been speaking out, particularly her brother, who had said that the family hopes that she will be able to get out of this conservatorship. Her sister had spoken out and sort of clapped back at people who were sort of going at her about, you know, the Free Britney movement. And then Jamie actually broke his silence, and he called the Free Britney movement a conspiracy theory that was so far-fetched from the truth, because he actually doesn't control the finances. The finances and everything is controlled by the judge and the courts, and he's just the executive that like distributes it all and manages the financial components of it. And a lot of people say that Jamie's the one that actually is making all of the money in this conservatorship, but that's a lie, because Jamie's he gets around $100,000 a year for sort of managing all of her estate, which her estate is estimated to be about $65 million. But here's the wild part here, is that Britney Spears' lawyers actually are the ones that make the most money here. Like, she has so much money that her lawyers get better paid than you make in a year. Her legal bill and her team of advisors took in $1.2 million in 2019. That's right. $1,202,504 went to her attorneys and her advisors. So imagine you have, and her dad earned $128,000. So her attorneys and her advisors, they pocketed the most money, $1.2 million to keep her in her conservatorship. Her dad gets $128,000 of that. She had $59 million at the end of 2018, and her father's annual income for serving as her conservator is $128,000 a year. That's a lot of money, and that's actually a lot of incentive for him to keep her in a conservatorship, because okay, so as part of the conservatorship, he's not supposed to touch her assets, and he actually has to report all of her assets to the state to make sure that he's not doing anything inappropriate. But still, a six-figure income for someone who's typically just retired at this point, $128,000 to manage her, that's a lot of money and a lot of incentive to keep her into a situation. Now, I don't think that we should forget, though, that she did have some issues this last spring, which led to her hospitalization to restabilize her medication. Don't even know what to say here. I was like floored when I read this. I just want to show you like the headline, and then I'll read it to you. It says, the lawyer likens her condition to a comatose patient. Okay, so I know it's really trendy right now to be on this whole Free Britney conspiracy. And I think most of you on this channel have known that I have been very objective about this whole topic, because I do have an understanding about conservatorships, guardianship, all of that, because this is something we'll be doing for my son. And I know what legal steps you have to take. It is just something that some people need in order to do and get through their basic things in life. And Britney has been in one since 2007 due to a severe mental health issue. And because it is a private medical condition, the public just doesn't know very much about it, and it has led to this massive conspiracy. I swear the same people that are in this movement are the same people that are doing all these other wild like Wayfair things, and they're not like looking objectively at what's going on. So today in court, and mind you, this is her attorney who she trusts and who she actually like values and who is actually fighting for her in court today.
Samuel Ingham, Britney's court-appointed attorney, shows up to UCLA Medical Center to do a brief interview with Britney, but allegedly didn't give her any notice he was coming. This short interview would end up severely impacting Britney's ability to fight her conservatorship. It is the day of the hearing, February 4th, and Britney is still on an involuntary hold at UCLA, but Adam Streisand is there to represent her. Streisand explains to the judge Britney does not want her estranged father as her conservator, and Samuel Ingham, Britney's court-appointed attorney, argued that in his 15-minute interview with her the day prior, she didn't have the capacity to hire direct counsel as she didn't understand the nature of the proceedings. Streisand responded saying he is Britney's lawyer. Judge Reva Goetz then ruled that Britney did not have the capacity to hire an attorney, ejecting Streisand from the courtroom and siding with Sam Ingham, who only stood to financially benefit from Britney being forced to use him as her attorney. Ingham was paid around $405,000 in just 2008 alone from Britney's estate.
This is her attorney who she trusts and who she actually values and who is actually fighting for her in court today. Okay, it says she lacks the mental capacity to sign a sworn declaration in her conservatorship case. Her own lawyer compared her inability to sign a document to a comatose patient. So they have a hearing on Wednesday, and the issue comes up. Her lawyer, Sam Ingham, tells the judge that Britney does not want to perform anymore. And then Ingham told the court that Jamie, her dad, is intent that she resumes her career, obviously, because that's how she makes money. And it says that's when the issue of hearsay comes up. And so the judge said, well, can you have her sign a sworn affidavit or a sworn declaration? So he says, Ingham said Britney lacked the capacity to sign a declaration and likened her to a comatose patient. So basically, he is saying that she is so mentally unwell that her ability to make decisions is so impaired that she can't even do it. So she's really sick, is what it sounds like. No, not like she's catatonic. It's just more like she doesn't have the mental capacity. Like she doesn't understand it. Like she doesn't get it. Like when someone is very mentally ill, they can't make legal decisions for themselves. Like they don't know how to. They don't understand the ramifications. And that can happen very much. That's why you end up in a conservatorship, because you don't know, you can't make those decisions. You can't understand it. You can't comprehend it. I'm still amazed that after watching her and reading her Instagram, that people believe that she should be freed. I care for this, I care about her, obviously. I was a fan of hers for many years, but it's so clear to me that she's sick and that I feel like this whole Britney Spears Free Britney movement doesn't help her if you don't understand her illness. A longtime subscriber of my channel, you know that I have taken a very steady approach with this and trying not to get swept away in any of the controversy, trying to stay logical and practical and understanding of what these conservatorships are, but also not being able to ignore certain aspects of this conservatorship that at times felt like she was being exploited. How do you allow someone to grow up when you don't let them make mistakes? How do you allow someone to fall and stumble and grow and become a better human when every aspect of their life is controlled? How do you show someone how to be free when you don't allow any of them the basic freedom? If you want someone to be able to get out of a conservatorship, you have to enable a life that allows for their independence, not allow a life of tight control. And I'm going to show you, I did a mashup of some of her Instagram stories because honest to God, this crap is nuts. She really does act a little, I don't know, you guys. I did some photos. I went through some photos of her and I realized her style, her personal style has not changed. Isn't that her outfit from Toxic? Isn't that the stewardess outfit from Toxic? I'm pretty sure it is. Why does her hair always look so terrible? She does a lot of this. If you go through her Instagram, it's she has videos of her either working out, dancing, or trying on tons of outfits and then strutting up and down her house, or posing provocatively or posing sexy. And I was I feel part of me is okay, you want to stay relevant, you want to seem presentable and likable. Part of me, when I was looking through these photos, I felt really sad for her. Not I'm not mocking her, more I feel she's trapped. She's trapped in a phase of her life that she's never going to get back. That level of stardom is never going to be hers. She's 37. She will never be the sex kitten again. She's put music out, but it hasn't been Britney level music. Her voice has never been, let's be honest, you guys, she's never had a good voice. Her hair always looks nappy. It looks like she has terrible extensions. It's she's never learned how to properly brush her hair. The smoky look she does with her eyes is she looks like, I don't know, like this picture, like that. What is that? What is with her eyes? It just, to me, it's like she's just not well. What do you think she's hiding with that eyeliner? Like, is she hiding her sadness? Is she hiding her emptiness? When she speaks, she looks very like empty. That there doesn't seem to be there very much there. And I know some of these medications can be very hard on you. I know they can slow you down. Maybe she needs Tanya's Halo vitamins.
Documentary that came out about Britney Spears called Framing Britney Spears. We have talked a lot about Britney Spears on this channel because I was obviously a big Britney Spears fan. I mean, come on, who wasn't? And because I've always been a fan of hers, I was watching to see how this would play out. It was interesting, but I think it's safe to say that Britney knows what's going on in her life, and I'd say that if she wants to talk about it, she will, but I don't think that she's being held captive. I think she just needs a way out, and you have to do that through the court, and unfortunately, there's not a lot any of us can do about it. But I think the documentary was a really good look at how the media treated her, and I think it's a good reminder to all of us that scrutinizing other people's mental health and their downfalls and slut shaming and being misogynistic and homophobic is generally just not okay. And that, you know, maybe extend her some grace and understand that 2007 was the culmination of many different things, and yet we still don't know all the details. And we probably never will. I'm toxic. I know.
I've been covering this story from a mental health perspective for a couple months, and some people on my column are like, why are you talking about Britney Spears? And I'm like, because mental health matters to me, and I really don't think that there's enough people talking about this side of it. I think a lot of people just look at her and they like laugh at her, or they're like, oh, Britney's being weird, or I just don't think people like, and then her fans are terrible. They're like at her conservatorship, like hearings, and they have like these free Britney signs, and they're like, free Britney, free Britney, free Britney. And it's like crazy because, so Britney Spears is like, the show in Vegas gets canned. Then she goes into, I think it was in like February or March, she goes into an inpatient like rehab to get her medications stabilized. And during that time, she is like, comes in and out. She gets some day passes where she goes out with Sam. There are photographs taken where she looks terrible. She looks very zoned out. She looks very out of it. She looks very disheveled. So she goes into the inpatient program, and then during this time, this massive conspiracy starts with her fans that she has been held captive in this therapy center out of her will, not even wanting to be there. And they start this free Britney hashtag. It's freaking nuts. So what happened was her dad who's her conservator, he got super sick this past fall, and he was so sick that at one point they thought he was going to die. He made it through, but apparently that really took a toll on Britney because he has been sort of like her rock for the last 11 years, holding her together, keeping her, you know, making sure that like she stays well. So at the same time he gets sick, the medications that she's on to treat her bipolar. Now she's never, like, she's referenced bipolar multiple times in the media, but they've never like come out and said like, I'm diagnosed with bipolar. You know, she's up, she's down. I would definitely say like that stuff that happened in 2007, she was having some mania. So that's sort of what I suspect she has. I don't know.
One of the biggest issues that I think has been brought up a lot is that Jamie Spears, Britney's father, was not heavily involved in her career before she was put into this conservatorship. In fact, she and her mom, and it was her mom who really propelled her into fame, were the ones that had this dream and met this dream together. Jamie was very erratic and not always in her life, in and out of rehab, and didn't really show up until she had her very public meltdown and then suddenly took extreme control of her. Britney has a lucrative career. She has a $60 million estate. And can you imagine having that much money, this much power, this much fame, and you've been able to work successfully for years, and you now are told where to go, you're forced to go to whoever therapist they want you to go to, you take whatever medication they make you take. It seems like in many ways, this conservatorship has existed at the benefit of Jamie. You hear and you read about how Britney finds her dad to be scary and abusive and verbally abusive and controlling. And you start to wonder, like, how much lying has been going on here? Like, there's not at no time is there sort of a diagnosis given for her health. Yesterday in the New York Times, a lot was talked about with drugs. And in the court today, she referenced having met friends from AA and said she can't even go out with friends without permission.
Free
free Britney, free Britney, free Britney. You know, with so many people controlling her life, I don't really think she's grown up that much. I mean, and it could be her mental health. I mean, I would say whatever is going on with her is clearly severe enough that it warrants having a guardian. You don't get a guardianship just for the hell of it. That doesn't just happen. Like, I know this because we're going to have to get a guardianship for my son when he grows up. And I know that it takes a lot for a state to deem someone a ward of the state in need of a guardian. So let's not talk about freeing Britney, because Britney is exactly where she needs to be. I'm toxic. I know. We need to talk about Britney because I have so many thoughts about what's going on. And we were talking last week about Britney's son, Jaden, going on Instagram Live. And on the Instagram Live, he started talking about how Britney might be done making music for like ever. Like he said, like, my mom said that she just might quit. She just might be done. She might be over it. She might be done. So she hasn't made any new music in like 4 years. Like, that's a super long time in the music industry. If you haven't put out any new music in 4 years, you're practically retired. You are about as retired as like the Beatles, who haven't put out music in like 50 years. Has it been 50 years? Maybe 60 years. A long time, right? 50 years. 4 years is forever in this world, let's just say. Sometimes it's hard for people to accept that, like, I can't maybe I don't have it all up together to take care of myself. Apparently before they had this conservatorship in place, her career was in a nosedive. She was spending more money than she was bringing in. She was just very in a manic state of, you know, spending, overindulging. She just wasn't in a good sort, and she's been well, but apparently, you know, like anybody that has a serious illness, it takes care and management. So it's hard to know because a lot of it is private because it's related to her mental health. And we don't know the details because nobody's telling us. Like, it would be hard for her to get out of this just because the state is the one that puts it in place. It's not her father that's put it in place. When she was spiraling, she was in a very, very, very bad spot. And it's this ongoing illness. It doesn't necessarily get better. So I can empathize with her in the one breath, and I can empathize that she would be frustrated with the power and control that her dad has over her. But it's like not even really her father that she should be mad at. It's the state, if she wanted to be mad. But really, I would think, I mean, it's got to feel powerless as an adult who has millions of dollars, who has been such a face for so many people, a icon, put out awesome music, has, you know, she's a great dancer, not the best singer, by the way, but very much that icon from the late 90s, early 2000s, and still has a lot of people, a ton of fans. But I think you can see in her Instagram photos, when you're on her Instagram, that there's still some stuff going on. She still has some aspects that, you know, maybe she's got some, you know, it's tough. Out. And something that I noticed in my comments and on Twitter was that a lot of people were starting to call her unhinged, saying that this was not going to help her conservatorship because she was starting to look crazy, which I found to be deeply disrespectful and incredibly misogynistic, that anytime a woman starts to share if she's been through abuse, then she is unhinged, crazy, and what else do they call us?
It's Britney, bitch.
Unhinged, crazy, and what else do they call us? Losing it, melting down. So I went to my Twitter and I tweeted, normalize not calling women crazy or unhinged for taking back their power and using their voice to speak out against abusers. Britney Spears is not spiraling. She's a woman that has been caged, abused, tormented, exploited, and she has every damn right to be mad. That was met by a lot of praise by her fans on my Instagram. While Britney is sharing her journey and talking about her experience and dragging her family, I don't think we should ever be sitting here and calling her names. I think it's highly inappropriate to call her crazy or spiraling or discuss if she's manic. When you're mad, when you've had no control of your life and you finally get a little sense of normalcy and you have a platform again and you can use it in your way, basically taking over your Instagram after it's been carefully managed and constructed and silencing you to look a certain way and not allowing you to be yourself to protect a brand and image, it's probably very liberating for her to do this.
It's time for Britney bitch. It's Britney bitch. It's Britney, bitch. Give me ma, give me ma, give me ma, give me ma, bye, 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 bye.
I'm not knocking her for getting that money. I'm just saying someone who's on the low end of the income, she spent 4 times as much as I make in a year just on massages. That's right, Robin.
Britney Spears is better than us.
She's just like Michelle Duggar, who is more blessed. Okay, so she went to Turks and Caicos and Miami. So on 2 separate trips, she spent $91,242. So she traveled and spent more money on 2 trips than than most people make in a year. She spent nearly $1 million on residential expenses for repairing her home gym, which she burned down twice. Of course, there's the mixed reactions of her mom wants her to get off it, her brother hopes that she will, her sister's just going to support her, and her dad wants her to do whatever. You know, everyone wants Britney to be healthy, happy, and Jamie actually clapped back at people saying that he wanted to control her, and he said, I would much rather that she had control of her own life and that she didn't need this and that she could take care of herself, but this is what we've done to help keep her safe. It's known, or it's at least been widely speculated, that she has bipolar disorder. So I don't know about, was that just used because that's what they believed was going on at the time, and now she has a professional diagnosis. I do know that last year, when she had petitioned the court for more visitation with her sons and fewer restrictions, they did appoint an entire psychological evaluation of her, and it was done through court-appointed doctors, which were not chosen by the conservator. With proper treatment and medication, Britney can be healthy. Britney can be successful. And it sounds like what she's got right now isn't getting her there. It makes you wonder if these doctors are specifically picked by Jamie because they're going to give them the diagnoses he wants to keep him on her payroll. Her parents might have an ulterior motive, but at the end of the day, it's not her dad who makes the decision on whether or not she needs to be in this. And I think that's always been the biggest misconception here. He didn't really get paid that much, to be honest, if you think about it. But she does burn through her money, and that's another reason why she would spend if she didn't have any. She has no concept of money. You think she has bipolar? And since when is it the court's decision that they have to take care of someone because they're worried that they will squander their money? Do you know how many people go bankrupt every single year and how many celebrities have gone bankrupt who are horrible with money? I mean, look at Nicolas Cage. Come on. I don't care. I'm tired of this. I'm after hearing her voice and hearing her screams and knowing that they are forcing her to be sterile and not allowing her to have kids, I'm disgusted. And I hope the judge finally hears her, and I hope this conservatorship ends. And other people are saying that not only she has been in charge of making everyone so much money for such a long time that she doesn't even have any sort of understanding, or she doesn't even have any understanding of how to manage money because she doesn't understand the value of money. It's sad though, and I feel like this whole Free Britney thing is so counterproductive. I hate how these conspiracies just take hold. I do have an idea how much he's been paid. I know exactly to the dollar how much he's been paid, but that doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, this whole thing, it's just a big conspiracy. And my question to people that are so obsessed with this is, if she doesn't have the capacity to sign a legal document, what do you want for her? Just her dad doesn't get to make these choices. The state of California is who is her conservator. Yeah. Anyways, we're not, the courts in this case have been pretty good. She's going to the right doctors. She has the best doctors. This woman is rich, and they're court-ordered doctors. The Free Britney thing, it just makes me feel so bad. I wish people would, if you guys want to feel that way, it's fine. I'm not going to be mad at you for that. It just doesn't help her. Anyway, I don't really want to get into the conspiracy of it because the whole conspiracy doesn't help her. It doesn't help anyone to make it a conspiracy. It doesn't help understand mental illness. It stigmatizes her. How did the court allow a man who has a long history of being an alcoholic with alcoholic relapses and with an abusive nature to be controlling of her? It makes me feel so discouraged to know that these types of systems are in place in America where people are denied rights and denied the capabilities of doing what they need to do. And because of her vulnerable state, she was placed in a position where she's in an impossible place to be let out. The courts are so messed up in this respect. She's 39 years old. She deserves to be free. I don't care what any doctor says. I don't care what the court says. It seems like the only ones that benefit from this conservatorship are the ones that are profiting off of it. And it's time that people finally hear her. And a lot of people have believed that her team had been sort of working her to the bone and just sort of pushing her to do things even though she didn't want to. Other people who are part of this Free Britney thing believe that her not working is not having anything to do with any sort of health issues, but rather sort of her protesting that her conservators take so much of her money, and that because of that, she is just not going to work because she doesn't want to have them paid. Her father pulls in over $100,000 as the conservator, and her legal team also pulls in millions of dollars as well. So, you know, there's some truth to the fact that the people that are managing her do benefit from her and do sort of benefit from this conservatorship. But at the same time, I would think that more of them would be more happy if she could just do this by herself and be able to manage her own assets and also be able to be more productive and working. You know, it's kind of this double-edged sword. All right, so we need to talk because Britney Spears was on her Instagram yesterday, and I am very, very rarely at a loss for words. And I was sitting there watching her, and I was very concerned. And it turns out I'm not the only one. And I was like, this is really, I don't know what's going on. And I'm watching her, and she's going back and forth, and she's walking back and forth in these, you know, swimsuits, and she is talking about going to the beach, and she does this montage to a Madonna song, and a lot of people in the comments were like, what are you doing, Britney? People for the first time on her comments, well, I wouldn't say for the first time, but people are starting to really worry about her, and it's not to a point of like, there was some people that were saying free Britney, but I feel like people are really starting to figure it out that like there is something seriously wrong going on here. And well, it's cute and it's sweet and it's obviously keeping her attention and is keeping her feeling like she's connected. It's also making fans sort of confused about the status of how she's doing and who's videotaping this. And that was my question, was like, who's filming this and who is editing this? Like, who is putting out all of this for her? Because I don't have the sense that she is editing this herself. Like, I just can't see that possible. I mean, maybe, but this is a woman that has had most everything done for her, and all she's really had to do is perform. So now we're supposed to believe that she's editing this. So I don't believe that. I believe someone's filming her. I also believe someone's editing this. And then they're allowing her to put it on her social media. Meaning there are people in her life that are like, this would be a really good idea, Britney. Try on all these different clothes, these outfits, these suits, and just walk back and forth and dance. Now, she looks happy, but this is like one of so many different videos that are like this, where she just tries on different clothes and walks back and forth off the camera. No engagement, no discussion. And then when she does talk, she seems sort of discombobulated, at times incoherent. And you guys, I am finally jumping ship. I have seen so many of these videos now to know that whoever is taking care of her is not taking care of her. And she needs somebody else to manage because this isn't it. And her dad was so sick, and it's so clear there's so much greed here. I'm starting to really believe that the Free Britney stuff isn't about that she should be free of this conservatorship, but that she should be free from her dad. And I am starting to say, okay, you guys, you've worn me out. I'm totally on board. We need to get Jamie Spears literally off this. And I'm starting to feel really powerless because you guys, I was a huge Britney fan, and it's really heartbreaking to see this all play out. Y'all, we need to free Britney. It's safe to say that her dad has profited off this a lot. In fact, he has basically been able to bankroll his life since placing her in this, not have to have other jobs, not have to do anything else. He will say he's doing this to take care of her. People that are close to her or that work for her will say he's an opportunist that didn't have a relationship with her, that is doing this because he wants control of her money. And somewhere in the middle is Britney Spears and her social media, and everyone obsessively talking about her social media and thinking that she needs to give them answers about a conservatorship she's literally never talked about. The only time she's talked about it, I think, was like in 2011. And the fact that because people think that she needs to talk about it, that she's somehow sending cues to people through her social media. Now, I've watched a lot of her stuff on Instagram, and I'm starting to think that a lot of it is just her playing with people. She's always been a very playful person, and I don't think that I don't think that it escapes her that people are interested in what's going on with her. Now, last week, Kanye West went ahead and said that he was running for president, and suddenly, after he made the decision to run for president, Britney Spears and the Free Britney movement seemed to become reinvigorated because they said that, well, Kanye had spent time getting help. Britney had the same issues, so we need to free Britney too. I don't necessarily understand how this all came to be, and that's the rationalization, but that's kind of what happened. I was trying to think of this in the terms of like other men. Think of people that also have bipolar, that are not in conservatorships, that have had way bigger public meltdowns than Britney Spears. Kanye West is another celebrity who has a huge platform, is a billionaire, and has the same illness as her, and has had the same struggles as her, and he is not in a conservatorship. So why is it that Kanye, as a man, or any other male that has some form of mental illness, able to run and do what they want, but the girl is the flower that needs everyone protecting her? I understand that the mental health here is complex. I understand that they believe that she is susceptible to individuals taking advantage of her. But isn't everyone else around her taking advantage of her? Isn't her dad taking advantage of her? And you know what I think is funny in all of this is that Jamie, who has been profiting lucratively off of this for over a decade, has recently sold his house and he is living in an RV. Part of me thinks that Jamie knows what's about to come. Even though he's making $16,000 a month as the conservator, I feel like Jamie has a good idea that his money train is about to end. Why else would you sell your house and move into an RV? Last spring, around this time, she was back in a facility sort of dealing with her medications and trying to sort through some stuff, and then this whole Free Britney campaign shows up. Like, people are saying that like she's being held in this conservatorship against her will, and people literally think that she needs to get out of it and that her father is doing this to her and it's all of her father's faults. And now, apparently, Jaden says that she wants to quit. And according to Us Weekly, a source says that the reason why Britney is not going to be making any new music at this point in time is because she is sick of her father and she is done with his control. And he apparently gets paid like $10,000 a month to manage her assets and her, like, all of her care. And so, as a protest to what he does and how he does it, she said, maybe I'll just quit. I won't make any new music. He won't have anything to do. I don't have to deal with him then. But like, if I were just Britney, I would just be like, I'm done. I am done making you guys money. I'm done feeling like this. I'm done being everybody else's bee. I'm done doing everything for everybody else. I'm 38 years old. I'm done. I mean, can you blame her? Can you blame that she would actually want to be out of this conservatorship? I mean, here's the thing, and here's the truth about conservatorships. Her father isn't keeping her in a conservatorship. That's not how they work. In the state of California, somebody who has a conservatorship, like Britney, it's actually, she's a ward of the state. So the state of California has determined that she has needs beyond her own ability to take care of. And because she is incapable of taking care of these needs, and this would be assessed by doctors, by people in her life, therapists, they're the ones that would be deciding whether or not she needs to remain. Last year, she had a checkup and they ordered a full psychological evaluation to see where she's at. And her father is actually appointed by the state to manage what the state has put in place for her. So even though it seems as though her dad is controlling her, he's really doing what the state tells him to do. So in the one breath, I totally understand where she's tired of it, she's sick of it. But in the same breath, it's not her father that's keeping her there, it's the state. And so something is going on dramatically enough in her life that the state is saying, you need extra help and we want to help you. And we want to make sure that you're okay. You know, I can see like you're mad at your daddy, but I would be mad not at your father. I'd be mad at the state. And no woman should ever be so tightly controlled by anyone that she cannot have the freedom to be who she is. And I think half the problem with the conservatorship is she was so stifled and silenced to look like a cookie cutter version of happy-go-lucky, no controversy so she could make money. The thing is women can make money just being themselves, and the problem with the people around Britney is they've tried to make her into something that she's not, tried to control and manipulate everything around her, and Britney has every right, in my opinion, to say and call out everyone that took part in this abuse. That means Lynn Spears, Jamie Lynn Spears, Jamie Spears, Brian Spears, her former manager, Larry Rudolph, and every other person that was involved in crafting and creating this conservatorship and maintaining it should get prepared for being called out. This was my opinion at the time when I was watching Brian talk about this. I was like, Brian, you wouldn't have this business if your sister was not, you know, a great dancer, a good singer, and had that it factor. Like, this would be, you wouldn't have this business. It seems like her dad has this fear that like everyone has it out for her money, and she has a lot of money. That's another issue. I mean, her estimated net worth is like $59 million. So there's a lot of money at stake. And so I don't know if his fear is that if you put someone in that isn't in her best interest, as he would say, I don't really understand why he would be opposed to a third party coming in at this point. Plus, you guys, my thought process is that you're 68 years old. You've been doing this for a very long time. Your health hasn't been great. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad, you know, but he also is a very protective father. Yes. And so she did tell her, she told her attorney, and this was actually revealed like about a month ago, that she has no plans to perform as long as her father is the conservator. So if she's at this point where she's like, it feels like they're at this crossroads and like he's being very, I don't know. I don't want to say that he's got his heels sort of dug. Like he doesn't want her to kick him out. And maybe his argument would be that she's not capable of really understanding what it means to have him removed. But I don't know. He's not making a ton. He does get a salary, but it's not like a massive amount. And he does have to report every single dime to the court. So it's not as though he just gets open pockets, wallets of money of Britney's at all. It's not like that at all. Like they file reports, I think every few months, like either quarterly or biannually to the court, which goes through her financials. So they know how much money is being spent. So it's not like he's willy-nilly has free access to the wallet, but that could be a good point. Yeah, the judge has an accountant that checks every single cent that the dad has exponentially increased her estate. Like I said, when she went into this conservatorship, she was near broke, and now she's not. Like, she has very good financial health, and I don't know if her dad is fearful that it'll go back that way. I have no idea. I have always tried to remain neutral. I don't want to be like, dad's bad, Britney's, you know, it's a complicated story. I don't want to feed into conspiracies. I'm just trying to present to you what's going on and just give you guys a better understanding of what is being said, and hopefully something will be resolved. But to date, the court has not removed him as the conservator, and he is also, which is weird that if he is the conservator, why the judge wouldn't, or why the attorney wouldn't want him to speak to her. Jamie wants to make sure that she has enough money to take care of herself when he's gone. I could for sure see that. Yeah, and Scarlett, I agree with you. You said it's maybe a little self-serving, but I also think that he's a father and he loves her very much, and he probably has worked very hard for her estate to make sure that she is perhaps taken care of, because maybe he knew at some point she wouldn't be able to work. And, you know, I don't think that her family is evil at all. I think they have done a really amazing job of keeping her alive, right, and taking care of herself, and that's important. First of all, if your daughter doesn't want you on a conservatorship and you need to go out to the public to defend yourself, and you are going to waste a ton of your daughter's money when she doesn't want you to be there, it's you that's wasting your daughter's money. What I never, ever, ever understood about Jamie is that he wants everyone to believe that he's this loving father, and yet that's contradictory to everything that you know if you know anything about Britney. Britney had very limited relationships with her father. Her father had struggled with alcoholism while she was a child. He was in and out of her life, in and out of rehab. He had been married before Lynn, and his ex-wife called him verbally abusive. When Lynn divorced him, she also had issues with his abuse. So if all of these people around Jamie have called him erratic, a tyrant, abusive, wouldn't you think that some of that is true? So this narrative serves to, I don't know, frame his ego more than it helps Britney. And how does it help Britney to have a father that routinely has their attorney trying to make everyone think that Britney is so much sicker than she is? Having someone be there for her and having someone completely control and exploit her life are two separate things. A conservatorship is not supposed to be in place to literally diminish the livelihood of somebody's life. They're supposed to enhance the life. And if it's a temporary conservatorship like she has, it's not supposed to be permanent. So Jamie, do the right thing. Let your daughter go. Find a new job, find a new hobby, and let your daughter live her life. Years. Britney has been going through a dragon on Instagram, and she has dragged her sister Jamie Lynn. And Britney, who has been locked in a conservatorship for the last 13 years, who has not been allowed to speak out against her own situation because of what her attorney was telling her and saying that she couldn't do that or she shouldn't do that. Well, now Britney is no holds barred. She is not holding back, and she is sharing how she feels. And the first post that she put up had some people speculating that it was about Jamie Lynn, and then bam, bam, she literally called out her sister after people became confused. What happened? It's a long story. No, it's not. Jamie Lynn Spears' family or PR put out a spin on Us Weekly, I think, I don't know who else it would have been, that Jamie was always supportive of her sister and Free Britney and Team Britney. Even leading up to yesterday's court hearing, her sister, Jamie Lynn, was like on Instagram and she was defending her sister. And she actually kind of clapped back at some of the people that had things to say about her sister and, you know, what people in the family are doing. So Jamie Lynn says for her sister Britney that Britney actually wants all of this to be private. She doesn't want people to talk about this. This isn't anyone's business. She doesn't want people to know. She just wants to sort of go on with her life. So she was basically sort of saying like, listen, like you guys don't understand all the details. Even though you want to have information about what's going on with Britney, just trust that everyone's doing their best for her. And Jamie and her sister Jamie and Britney have always had a pretty close relationship. Well, Jamie is quite a bit younger than her. She has always sort of defended and been there for her sister. So she's telling people to like back off, stop doing this whole thing, like stop assuming that everything going on here is wrong. She wants people to respect Britney's privacy. And she's even saying Britney wants you to respect her privacy. So there's that. I would suggest for the Free Britney movement, you know, that you stop pushing for something that maybe she doesn't want because you don't know all the details. We only know stuff that happened from 10 years ago, 13 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, I think the speculation of her being held almost can create just a circus, in my opinion. Now, I'm guessing that this is going to be a lifetime conservatorship. That's just my best guess at this point because it's been such a long time. It's been 13 years and she hasn't had the best year. She's got, you know, she's had issues with her gym. She had to quit working because of her unstableness. Her medication stopped working. She stopped taking her meds. There's just a lot going on here. Now, last week, Jamie Lynn actually turned her comments off because people were posting and responding to her, leaving tons of horrible comments, and she uploaded this in response.
Speaking for myself, I'm so proud of her for using her voice. I'm so proud of her for requesting new counsel like I told her to do many years ago. Oh, not on a big public platform, but just in a personal conversation between two sisters. So I'm very proud that she's taken that step. If ending the conservatorship, if flying to Mars or whatever the hell else she wants to do to be happy, I support that 100% because I support my sister. I love my sister, always have, always will, as long as she's happy.
So Jamie says that she supports her sister being happy and she supports her sister running off, I think, to a jungle and having as many kids as she wants, or maybe going to Mars or going and taking over the world and being the most, you know, amazing star that she is, dominating the market with her singing and her dancing. But she didn't say that she wanted an end to the conservatorship. She did mention that she supported her sister getting new counsel and suggested that she had recommended to her sister that she get new counsel and that she had been supporting her behind the scenes for a very long time. If you're new to the whole Free Britney thing, last year Jamie Lynn was quietly added as a trustee to Britney Spears' trust. Well, last fall in 2020, after she had been added, she had made a request to the court to transfer money out of the trust for her sons into accounts that were held by Jamie Lynn Spears. So Jamie seems to be of this, like, I felt like her response was very like over the, like, I don't want to say anything, but I know I have to say something. But she didn't necessarily say that like the conservatorship needs to end. And then she also said that she's just been like not wanting to be a part of this conservatorship. She's only ever wanted to be a sister and an aunt to her nephews, but she was a trustee for a while, so that doesn't really make sense to me. And she, in an indirect way, has benefited off of Britney over the years. She obviously had a job and worked on Zoe 101, but her fame is a direct result of her sister. She was a carbon copy lookalike of her sister, and obviously Nickelodeon wanted to cash in on that. I mean, who wouldn't? It really bothers me in the situation that, first of all, this is such a complex situation, and obviously there's things that we don't know about, but it feels like even after she says she wants to sue her family, it's like her family doesn't care. Her sister says, I love her, it's fine, and her family's like, we're going to extend the conservatorship. This is great. Jamie Lynn's response to me falls flat, knowing that she tried to transfer money out of this trust last fall and really didn't do it after the public caught wind of it. And now she is suddenly pro Britney, but it's okay if, you know, Britney goes to a jungle and has kids. It really doesn't make any sense. So obviously the family's in a tough situation, but the family has also been profiting off of Britney for years, and to which I say Britney still needs to be free. Free Britney. Yes, you guys, it's true. Britney Spears was back in court yesterday, and she was again sharing what she's been going through. She talked about everything happening. She asked for a new lawyer. There was some really good news that came out of the hearing, and I want to dive into all of that. And Miss Spears used the hashtag Free Britney for the first time on her Instagram. So yesterday she was in court to request counsel and have the ability of the court to actually let her hire her own attorney. And Liz Day, who's been a part of this whole like dissecting the Free Britney thing and dissecting the conservatorship, she had a string of tweets that she shared about what happened in the courtroom, and I just want to share them with you, and this is what she said. Busy day inside the courtroom for Britney's conservatorship case. 13 years later, Britney finally won the right to choose her own lawyer. Former federal prosecutor and prominent Hollywood attorney Matthew Rosengart was tough. Basically what happened was nothing's been decided about Jamie stepping down, but Britney was allowed to hire her own counsel, which is great news. So she has now a counsel that wants to end this conservatorship. I actually like the angle here of her attorney looking into the theory that this was...
I hate how these conspiracies just take hold, this whole Free Britney conspiracy, because the whole conspiracy doesn't help her. It doesn't help anyone to make it a conspiracy.
In this time, this massive conspiracy starts with her fans.
I don't really want to get into the conspiracy of it. I mean, this whole thing, it's just a big conspiracy. I don't want to feed into conspiracies, and it has led to this massive conspiracy.
It's the theory that this was all set up under suspect situations. There's long been this speculation and rumors that this was done. I think the way the conservatorship was set up was so shady. It seems like a lot of people were abusing the system here because they were making a lot of money off of this, in my opinion. So for her attorney to now want to look into how this whole thing is set up, I like that aspect. I also like the aspect of him pressuring Jamie to step down. We haven't seen this yet, and I think I've been screaming that for a long time. Like, if your daughter's telling you to step down, go. Like, you're not helping her. So no one wants you here, Jamie. You're the only one that wants you here. And the only person that's willing to say that they want you here and defend you is the lawyer that you're paying for with Britney's money. Make that make sense. So in response to all of this, Britney jumped up on her Instagram and used the hashtag Free Britney for the very first time, which I was here for all day long. I'm toxic. I know. Britney telling the audience and her fans how she's feeling, thanking her fans for their support. And she actually said in court that without the Free Britney movement, she never would have had the strength to come forward, say her truth, and ask for her life back. Free Britney, free Britney, free Britney. So she thanked her fans who have been screaming for months, for years, to free her from this conservatorship. And just know that your screams did not go unnoticed. I'm feeling super positive for Britney. How are you feeling? Tell me in the comments below.